But I wrote it down, so I'm just going to read it. So I want to thank you all for being here today to hear my story. But the first thing I want to start off with is I want to say suicide is not chosen. It happens when pain exceeds resources for coping with the pain. The reason I'm here tonight is because I believe that part of my healing has come from sharing my story. I hope each one of you will be able to tell your story as often as necessary to as many who will listen, and that it brings you as much healing as it has me. My journey began on New Year's Day 2010. My 17-year-old daughter, Sarah Beth, died by suicide. I woke up that morning looking forward to a family party we were all going to, as we did each year for New Year's Day. I was letting Sarah sleep in. Well, I ran errands, picking up last minute things for the party and checking on Sarah's birthday cake for her 18th birthday, which would have been 2 days later on January 3rd. I was going to surprise her with the perfect birthday cake and a car. I got home and tried to wake her up, but she locked me out of her bedroom. A wall between us. I had no clue what had happened. After several attempts to get her to unlock the door, the police were called. They came, they broke down the door. My life changed that instant. My other daughter Emily's life changed that instant. First, the disbelief. Then the anger came. The clouds started closing in on me. I felt like running, but I wasn't getting anywhere. I wanted a remote control to fast forward to the time the pain would be gone. Soon after that, I wanted to wake up from this horrible nightmare I was in. I became numb. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I couldn't work. I missed my baby, Sarah Beth. I felt like I couldn't breathe. No one knew the pain I was feeling. My baby was gone. My older daughter buried herself in work and school. She wouldn't talk to me about this, and I didn't know what she was thinking or feeling. I didn't want to talk to anyone else because most of my friends were so angry with Sarah for doing this to us, and they would let me know how angry they were with her. They didn't even realize how much that hurt me. I needed to find out why she did this. I thought about the what ifs, the why, the what could I have done, what should I have done. I kept thinking if I could go back to that last minute before she took her life, what would I say to her to convince her not to? Now I tell others if I had that minute, I would tell Sarah, tomorrow might not be perfect, but it will be a different day, and you will see things differently. I never got a chance to give her that message. In fact, I never got to see her graduate high school. I will never see her go to college, start her first job, get married, have children. The pain inside me hurt so badly, and I knew I needed to do something about it, or I would end up like her, taking my own life. So I got a puppy. I named him Zero to help me get out of bed and keep my depression at bay. I searched for others just like me. I found support groups. They were so sad. I hated going. It hurt to hear those horrible stories, but I couldn't stay away. I needed those horrible stories. Soon I realized those survivors needed to hear my horrible story. I needed to help them. I knew their pain. I knew what they would be feeling soon. I couldn't stop going. I started going to the local police departments and asking them to give my phone number to new survivors. I even thought about getting catchy phrases to promote myself, maybe using acronyms. I wanted to help. I had firsthand knowledge how they felt and what feelings were to come. It seemed like support groups were far and few between. I needed to talk about my pain more often, and I needed to help others more often. I became isolated from others that were not survivors. They didn't get me. How could they? They didn't lose somebody to suicide. We survivors are in an exclusive club, and no one's banging on our doors to join. The new normal. It's a club where all the members get each other and feel safe. Then, when others outside the club find out that my daughter died by suicide, they would walk the other way or avoid me. They didn't want to bring up the fact that she died by suicide. Well, as a survivor, I want to talk about my daughter, Sarah Beth. I couldn't understand why they didn't want to talk to me about I couldn't understand why they didn't want to talk about my daughter. I then realized that it's the stigma around suicide, and that's unacceptable. She committed suicide? That's an unacceptable term that needs to be expunged completely. Criminals commit crimes. Suicide is not a crime. We all need to help break the stigma. Please help me educate the media when they use that term. It makes it okay for others to use that term. We can be reactive by sending letters, emails, or call every time we hear the media use the words committed suicide instead of died by suicide. Refer to the exact article or news story and let them know that you strongly object to the usage of an inadequate and insensitive term. Let's break the stigma right here, right now. Let's talk about it and our loved ones and treat it as if it were like cancer or heart disease. We as survivors want to talk about our loved ones. It's been 8 years for me now, and I still miss my Sarah Beth every moment of every minute. I break down from time to time, but I have found what works best for me is it's okay to have setbacks because it's pulling yourself out of it faster each time that helps me to cope. My journey has taken me to many new places where I'm able to help other survivors with this horrible pain. I can say one person makes a difference. In 2013, I personally made a difference. I was able to be part of a small group of people in California to get an assembly bill passed. Assembly Bill 755. It's bridge barriers. Makes it mandatory bridge barriers on all new or repairing bridges. I publicly speak about suicide. I facilitate support groups. I do walks and spread the message about suicide. It has become very apparent to me that helping others in this grieving process is what I was meant to do. This is my passion, helping others and breaking the stigma of suicide. I have done many things to honor my daughter. Since the loss of Sarah, I have gotten married a few years ago to a man I've loved for 16 plus years. He has taken on the role of being a step-parent to a child in heaven and a husband to a lifelong grieving wife, and continues to support me and get involved with me. I have moved to Florida, enrolled in school, and have almost completed a Christian counseling certification. I became a caregiver to his parents, where God gave me once again a new challenge in this arena. Finding out my mother-in-law was secretly an alcoholic and a prescription drug addict, where at times she begged me to let her go where my Sarah was. This became unbearably confusing and hard on me. I knew I couldn't give up on her. After a few attempts to suicide, She was Baker acted. Not sure if that helped at all. However, we were able to find out a diagnosis of stage 4 cancer. And unfortunately, a few months ago, it was the addiction that took her from us, not the cancer. Today, not only do I help others dealing with suicide loss, but I also help others with the loss of child, grandchild, or sibling of any kind as the chapter leader of the Compassionate Friends, where my husband and myself continue to find avenues to teach others how to honor a loss and create new kinds of memories with our loved ones in heaven. We now have an annual spring brunch with a rock ceremony where we paint words of our grief emotions on these rocks so we can create new visual images as we watch them get locked into a chest to be taken to the river for cleansing. It also takes place in our Garden of Angels, where we also honor our loved ones with bronze plaques creating a peace place for us when we are feeling sad. We get involved in the community where you can typically see us with a booth spreading hope and information about the Compassionate Friends of Pasco County. Just a few days ago, we did our annual candlelight, and we are soon to open a butterfly garden for the community to enjoy in honor of our children. Most importantly, I do this because my journey started by praying so much and asking for hope and peace. I asked God to show me what he expects me to do with what has happened to me. What was I supposed to do with all this new, unwanted experience and all this knowledge I have learned about grief, suicide, pain, and the desire to help others? After months and months of asking, praying, and trying to figure out what it was, and I was about to give up, and out loud I spoke the words I was feeling. God, if you want me to pursue this grief stuff you put in front of me and know my heart is in the right place and I'm on the right track, show me. And about 10 minutes later, I walked away, sat down to watch TV. As I was flipping the channels on the TV, not paying much attention due to some sharp zero teeth biting me, wanting all of my attention, something caught my eye on the channel guide. So I thought it was the channel guide. I repeated what I thought I saw so I wouldn't forget what it was that I was looking for on the TV guide. I think it was Surviving and Renewing All Hope. I said it again, Surviving and Renewing All Hope. As I'm flipping backwards on the TV to find whatever this Surviving and Renewing All Hope show is, then I stopped and thought, S-A-R-A-H. My Sarah is Surviving and Renewing All Hope. That was my confirmation. I knew then I got my answer. It made perfect sense. A journey for surviving and renewing all hope. A suicide survivor's journey. I just wonder how many times I've heard this and didn't listen. Of course I wanted to hear more. I listened and I heard how hard it was going to be, how people will turn on me, how I will hit dead ends, roadblocks, but never ever give up. And God will never give up on me. No matter how hard it is or how tired I am, I will take my last breath, helping any way I can and anyone I can. If I could give all this up to have my daughter back, I would. But that's not going to happen. So today I find peace in the things I do and the person I have become on this journey. And I am looking forward to the rest of my days. Thank you all for listening to this. Bye. by.